Hey, friendo, Steve here. There's no Larson here. This is my very first Impact Wrestling review. And it is weird not having Larson here, but I said I was going to do this for my channel, and I figured right now, I think this was the go-home show to Slammiversary, which they're making a pretty big deal about. That is, no, wait, that can't be, because that's on July 2nd. That can't be. No, that's still a couple weeks away. Anyways, before I get into my actual review of this week's Impact, which, yes, I hope to do on a weekly basis. I got PlayStation Vue, and they have it on their little DVR system thing, their VOD, and I was able to watch it this last night and this morning. I sort of split it in half. And so just some background on me and TNA. I've always been kind of intrigued by TNA, by Impact Wrestling. I know now they're called Impact Wrestling. But there's always been a couple barriers to me, between me and really getting into it, really being a fan of it. And the main one has never been like the talent necessarily, although I never really, it's difficult. It was difficult for me to get into Impact because they were relying on so many stars that, you know, made their names in either WCW or WWE. I felt that they were always just sort of taking the leftovers from WWE, but then they had a period of time when they were able to cultivate amazing talent like AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels. But it feels like there was never a time when their business practices seemed to color my perception of the product in general. When your company is known for late payments, no payments, when they do things like, I think the worst for me was when they brought in Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff and decided to go live head-to-head against WWE. I just thought that was like, you're not gonna challenge WWE. That's not gonna happen. So why are you trying to bring back the Monday Night Wars? Or I think they were on, yeah, I think they were on Mondays for like a couple weeks. And I just didn't. Sorry, I got a text message. I'm not going to cut any of this out. And so as a fan of wrestling, it was hard to get into that. It was hard to get into a lot of different aspects of TNA. They had Vince Russo booking their product at one point. Jeff Jarrett had a heavy hand for a while, and I've never been a big fan of his. There was such a focus on older names as opposed to really bringing up the newer talents. But I mean, I guess they did that after a while. I don't know. It was just, you know, it was always, you know, for the longest time it was just, I'm a WWE guy. Why would I watch this stuff? But then from time to time I would. So that's been my history with TNA. And it's easy. It's a company that's kind of easy to make fun of because of their shady business practice. When you look up Jeff Jarrett's gold scheme, that's you kind of associate that with the company that he's associated with having a heavy hand in creating, TNA. And it's hard to disassociate that aspect of things from the fact that they have some great talent over there, and they always have had great talent over there. And they put out a relatively entertaining product. Like when I've seen it, you know, there's been times when it's been like, you know, eye rolling, when they didn't know if they were going to be able to re-sign somebody, and they did their tapings and not in chronological order from like a pay-per-view. There was like a lot of weird stuff there. So it's difficult to sort of, like I said, disassociate that aspect of things, the way they run their business, from the product they put in the ring and the wrestlers, the talent in the ring who are making money off of wrestling, which is what they should be doing. So anyways, the work schedule that me and Larson keep over on Going In Raw is pretty hectic. He's over here 4 days a week. We're shooting, you know, a lot of that time that he's here, editing the rest of the time. And so, but, you know, I thought I liked my side channel, my personal channel right here at MF Steve here it's a good creative outlet for me. I plan to do, you know, you can take a look at the channel. I've done gameplay stuff. I plan on doing that some more. We're going to bring Lacey, my wife, in on some stuff. And, you know, it's just I've been able to eke out the time on Fridays to sort of dick around with my own channel. It's just for fun. I'm not looking to make a career out of this. I'm very happy with Going In Raw, and I really hope to do that for the rest of my life. So anyways, on to Impact. because that's why you're all here for my Impact review. I went into this kind of knowing like some things that were happening. Josh Matthews and Jeremy Borash were having a feud, which bugged the crap out of me. I knew they were going to India. I knew most of who is there at Impact. I know there's an owl involved. I know that there's a lot of Bruce Pritchard on the screen. I know that Alberto Del Rio is there as Alberto El Patron, now just El Patron, which I think is like means the boss in Spanish. I like Bobby Lashley. I've always liked Bobby Lashley. So I know a couple things here and there. I've like watched a couple episodes. I mean, I watched a lot of the Hardys saga. And again, when you see their business practices as it pertains to the Broken Hardy stuff, as a fan, I want to see that in the WWE. And I don't honestly, it's hard to say what who's right and who's wrong contractually, who belongs, what belongs to who. But when you see Ed Nordholm go on that wrestling show that he did, and then he released some, private emails, correspondences, you have to question your business practices are kind of off kilter when you do that kind of stuff. That's not speculation. If you release what are supposed to be private correspondences and contracts, that to me colors your product. That to me puts your product, your in-ring product, in a negative light. So I was apprehensive in devoting more time to reviewing Impact Wrestling, but screw it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it on this channel. And we'll see. If you guys like this, cool. If you don't, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. So I'm going to do it. This was, yesterday was June 15th, I think. Thursday, June 15th. They're in India. Apparently Sanjay Dutt, who I kind of know about, like I knew him from the X Division days. Him and Low Ki, who I'm well aware of. They have like a long history in the X Division. But tonight it's all going to be settled. Low Ki and Sanjay Dutt are going to be fighting for the X Division Championship. That's something I was actually really looking forward to. Like, okay, that's cool. That's a good main event there. I don't know why Low Ki is dressing up like Hitman now. Why is he doing a Hitman angle where he's literally wrestling in a suit? That's not something I'm actually opposed to necessarily. I don't really like when somebody takes like Glacier, for example. He was literally just Sub-Zero. That's what he was. I feel like if Low Ki had like sort of a twist on the Hitman thing, that would be kind of cool. But just him going in there and essentially cosplaying as the video game character, that brings it down a little bit notch for me. But I always liked Low Ki. I always heard that he was like really serious and he was a very stiff worker. And given what we saw in this opening video package where Low Ki and Sanjay Dutt had been targeting each other's eyes. And so Sanjay Dutt in this episode, he starts off with an eye patch, and then they show footage of like them slicing his eye up here open and relieving some of the blood. It's all swollen and crap. It was kind of brutal. And then there was a promo, I guess, last week where Sanjay Dutt was, talking to Low Ki, and Low Ki's eyes all bleeding all over his face. It was a cool visual, but it didn't seem very safe. Anyways, I always liked Low Ki, though. I thought that his intensity was really cool. It's just I feel like he wasn't the safest guy in the world, and I think there's some anecdotal evidence out there to back that up. Let's see here. So according to a couple, I think Wrestling Observer noted this, the crowd there in India Impact paid them to show up, which apparently is not unusual in India. And then they're instructed to react, yay or nay to a lot of the wrestling stuff that's going on. And I actually, look, if I didn't know that, I would think this is a hot crowd. This is a very effective way. They set up a replica of the Impact Arena, whatever they call it, the Impact Zone, I guess, in this facility in Mumbai. And the crowd was great. And the cool thing was, like, the crowds, like the audience had like sort of a cascading, like the seating was like cascading. So you have like this wall of people for the cameras, and they're all like hooping and hollering and stuff. And it was actually, I thought it was really effective. I thought it was cool. I'll be honest. I thought it was neat. Look, all in all, like in terms of like general sort of how did I feel about the show? I thought it was kind of cool. I actually thought it was okay. I thought it was decent. I was all in on Impact this week. They had their opening package, their opening video package, which I thought was well produced. They had good production value, but they have that fucking owl in it. What is with that owl? Why does Anthem care about having that stupid owl associated with Impact? That's a bad move. Nobody cares about owls, dude. That's not good. Anyways, the episode started out with the Sony 6 Battle Royal. Apparently, it's a Battle Royal sponsored by Sony, the PlayStation Sony, the mega technology film entertainment company Sony. How do I get some of that money? I want to get something sponsored. How do we get Fuck Wrestling sponsored by Sony? That'd be cool. Anyways, Suicide was the first one down. This was kind of interesting. I looked up to see who's playing Suicide these days, and it's somebody named Caleb Conley. Don't know who that is, but effective wrestler. This was kind of interesting, too. On Suicide's Wikipedia page, it says that he was trained by Vince Russo. I don't know if that's storyline or not. I don't know if that's real. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Anyways, so Suicide and Davey Richards Suicide and Matt Sydal start out the Sony 6 Battle Royal. They're joined by Davey Richards next. And then let's see here. There's this big, awkward-looking fella named KM. His shorts say cocky on them, but there's an odd space between the K and the Y. So at first I was like, why did his shorts say cock on them? But then I look closer and it says cocky. And then Hornswoggle comes out, who just goes by Swoggle now. Eddie Edwards comes out. I think he's the former champ there. And I heard he's good. And then Rockstar Spud comes down. He's so small. And Wikipedia says he's 5'4". I think I like Rockstar Spud. I kind of appreciate the fact that he's made like a home at Impact Wrestling. I mean, he's been there for a little while. But man, he is short. Even for like Jack Gallagher is listed as 5'8". So Jack Gallagher compared to Rockstar Spud is like a giant. I mean, take that for what you will. I'm not talking shit. I'm just saying that he's a really short fella. Then we got Congo Kong. He's a fat bastard. He has literal boobies, like breasts, literal breasts. Well, I'm not talking shit about that. I'm just pointing it out. He's a big dude. He's a big fella. And yes, I would love to see Scott Steiner and Congo Kong confront each other, meet face to face. Let's see here. Then we had, starting out, I thought Matt Sydal was totally going to win this thing. That didn't happen. He was like the first one eliminated. Let's see here. Then Moose comes down. I don't think I've actually ever seen Moose wrestle before. Impressive looking dude, though. He's got a good body to him. He's got a good face. And then later on, there's a promo where he calls people dummies. So that was cool. Then there was, I believe, an Indian native guy named Mahabali Shira. Good-looking dude. Really good-looking dude. Good body on him. And I think he was a decent wrestler. We saw him a little bit. And that's who it came down to. It came down to Mahabali Shira and KM. And then I think Shira gave somebody an attitude adjustment. Who did I see the attitude adjustment from? I forget who it was. I think it was him. Anyways, he went over. He tossed KM out of the ring. No, I think he got the pinfall. I didn't really write it down. See, that's the problem not having Larson around, because he does those notes all the time. Anyways, there was a very long celebration. The Indian crowd loves Shira because I think he's, local. There was a very, very long celebration at that point where Shira won. And I think he got like a trophy of some sort. Something. I don't know. But it took a really long time. There was actually, for a 2-hour show, there wasn't a ton of wrestling in this. We got another video package. Oh, and then they did some shit with Josh Matthews and Jeremy Borash, which surprisingly was not as bad as I thought it would be. It wasn't that overbearing. Josh Matthews is actually a pretty entertaining dude. So was Jeremy Borash. I was kind of surprised at that. It was not at all like Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler, which was really bad back in the day. This was actually kind of funny. As long as they didn't keep it to like their A story, it was fine. So anyways, then we got another video package with Sanjay Dutt and Low Key. Then there was something about D'Angelo Williams from the NFL. He's going to be fighting at Slammiversary, and it showed him doing wrestling moves. I hope he is insured. That man is worth a lot of money. I hope he is insured for a shit ton. Because if he gets actually injured at Slammiversary in advance of the NFL season in a couple months, that's not going to be good for him. Let's see here. Then we had... So throughout the thing, there was this Jeremy Borash and Abyss. I forget what he calls himself, like as a lawyer. I forget. I didn't write it down. Anyways, I know it's Abyss. They throughout the episode, it showed like little film segments of them preparing to take on Scott Steiner at Slammiversary. They're actually kind of funny together. I'll be honest. They have good chemistry. They've got good comedic timing. They're pretty good. Then there was like a film, like a pre-film thing with LAX, who apparently is some sort of Latino gang. I know they were around a while ago, and then they're back. Conan's in the sort of the lead Godfather type guy. I actually thought this was kind of cool, to be honest with you, because like it was pretty hardcore. Like they come off as kind of scary. It's like something at a training day. So I would totally watch an LAX movie if they made it. Next was kind of a highlight of the night. This was great. EC3 came down, but he called himself E-Sing 3. Crowd was really eating him up. They were really giving him he was getting some good heel heat off there. I know the crowd was like told to do that, but they seemed like they had it in their hearts out for him. I don't think they appreciated the E-Sing 3. He gave a pretty long promo where he was talking about like his own Indian heritage. Then he started running everybody down. He started beating up on his translator, which was pretty great. I liked EC3. He was good. I think I could see him going back to WWE one day as Derek Bateman, because he was there for a spell. James Storm comes running down to help out the Indian translator. So I guess him and EC3 are going to have a thing at Slammiversary, I guess. James Storm is cool. I like him. He's fit these days, but he walks like he's fat, which is weird. He has like a fat man's waddle. Like he sort of holds his arms out, which is weird. Anyways, then there was like a cafeteria segment with Hornswoggle and Rockstar Spud, but like they didn't have a mic on Hornswoggle, and so every time they cut to him, like the audio would like you'd hear this just so you can hear. Like they had to boost the gain a bunch just so you can hear what he's saying. They should have just cut that. If the audio's crap, don't use it. Anyways, Hornswoggle went over and stuffed Rockstar Spud's head in a plate of food. Then Josh Matthews, who had advertised earlier a wrestling exhibition thing to prove that he could still fight at the upcoming Slammiversary, because I guess he's going to fight Jeremy Borash or something. Is that how it's going to go? Anyways, he brought out a local guy named, I think his name was Sandy Tacone. Could be totally wrong about that. They stopped doing, like, they had lower thirds for like half the participants in the Battle Royal at the beginning, and they stopped doing lower thirds for everybody, like little name titles. They stopped doing that. I kind of need that for this. So anyways, I actually was kind of entertained by this. Josh Matthews is actually a pretty decent heel. Like he's kind of a prick. He's like a heel. I don't know. It was pretty entertaining. So anyways, he was whooping up on Tacone, and then once again, Mahabali Shera comes down, stops that from happening. Bobby Lashley then comes down and helps Josh Matthews take care of Shera. And then El Patron comes down. His music is terrible. It sounds comedic. It's like comedy music. It's weird. So he runs Lashley off because they're going to have a match at Slammiversary, El Patron versus Lashley. Then we had Borash and Abyss doing a Scott Steiner film session. They're going to study up on Scott Steiner. And so they're reviewing some of his promos. This is probably a bad idea because Scott Steiner is like really old now. And they're reviewing stuff from when he was at his TNA peak, which was kind of at the tail end. It was at the tail end of his career, of his like TV ready career. So anyways, they were watching that, and it was cool. They were showing like his greatest hits, like his promos and stuff, which were always fun. But like, I just feel like it's setting us up to see Steiner now, and I think Steiner now is really old. Anyways, towards the tail end of that, he Skypes them. He shows up on their Skype, but then they don't. It was a cliffhanger. They didn't show him pick up. After that, we had an actual match. Braxton Sutter, who looks like a stud. I don't know who he is, but he looks like a stud. He beat Trevor Lee via swinging neck breaker, which was awesome because I love swinging neck breakers. Trevor Lee's great. I saw him fight Cody at PWG. That was fun. He's a fun guy. My only thing about Trevor Lee is that his trunks, they don't have like enough cloth on them. So I feel like his dick can pop out at any moment, which would be entertaining as shit, but I'm not sure it's something that anybody would really want. Then somebody named Sienna, who I guess is the Jeff Jarrett champion, like the Jeff Jarrett wrestling promotion champion. And then some bride who looks like she was, I think I watched a bunch of this when they did a wedding that was broken up and Sandow was still there. And so I think that's just a carryover from that thing. And then Braxton and I forgot her name. Allie? Was that who it was? I don't know. Anyways, they're going to do a thing because Braxton's girlfriend was the one that he went to and dumped the wife, the bride. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, we got another. This time we had a low key focused video sort of vignette thing where he talks about denying Sanjay Dutt the X Division Championship. So that was cool. Low-key has got a really cool voice. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Smojo. I know they go back a ways. Then Moose, who is the current Impact Grand Champion, which I don't know what that means. I don't know what the Grand Championship is. But maybe next week I'll find out. Wrestling is a lot like a soap opera. You just dive into it, and then eventually you figure it all out. Anyways, he comes down. He starts calling people dummies. Eli Drake and not the crowd. He's a face. Eli Drake and Chris Masters comes down, but Chris Masters now goes by Chris Adonis. He looks good. He looks like not unnatural anymore. He actually looks natural-ish compared to his days in the WWE. Remember that back when he was in the WWE when he like was obviously on something and then they obviously made him get off that something and then he came back and his body looked malformed. It looked really weird. He doesn't look like that anymore. It's been like 10 years. He looks good these days. He looks healthy. So that's good. Anyways, they both come down. They're good heels. I like that Eli Drake guy. So Moose challenges both Drake and Masters, apparently. That's what I got from this. They say, okay, this is a handicap match. They get in the ring. They beat him up. He's able to fend them off, which is impressive. So I guess Moose is going to take on both Eli Drake and Chris Masters at Slammiversary. I don't know. I'm not going to be able to watch Slammiversary. I was thinking of doing a live stream reaction to it here on my channel. But I don't think I'm going to do that because I'm going to be in Long Beach for the G1 special. That's going to be fun. Slammiversary is directly competing with that, but I don't think they're airing that live on Access, just on New Japan World. Anyways, then we go back to, Moose fends off Drake and Masters. Then we go back to the film segment where Abyss and Jeremy Borash are about to answer a phone call from Scott Steiner. They do, and he's on Skype video, and it's actually pretty damn funny. He starts running them down, calling them fat asses. They're freaked out. They don't want to hang up on him, so they just run away, and he gets done saying that he's going to beat them up, and they're a bunch of fat asses. You know how much I hate you fat bastards. It was pretty funny. I thought it was good. It was Scott Steiner, classic Steiner. Then he went back to running his Shoney's in Ackworth, Georgia. Then we had the main event, which is Sanjay Dutt versus Low Ki. Decent match. I feel like they didn't let this go long enough. Another thing about TNA or Impact or whatever, maybe this is on the PlayStation View. I don't know. They have really long commercial breaks, man. I was fast forwarding through the commercials, and there was like 8 of them. There was a lot of commercials. And so it really broke up this main event match. I really wish they hadn't actually cut out to commercial. And I know they tape it, so you're not really missing anything. But when your commercial is that long, when your commercial break is that long, it really takes you out of the match. So it felt like a shorter match than maybe it actually was. Felt like the build to the finish could have been a bit better. But that being said, there were some really cool spots. There was a decent moonsault, which is impressive on the outside of the ring. He went up, what's his face, Sanjay Dutt, through Low Ki off like one of the stands in the crowd. And then he did a moonsault off that. It was cool because there was not a lot of room to clear it. But it was a good match, and Sanjay Dutt went over and won his very first X Division championship. So good for him. I thought it was well done. Hey, guess what? I was entertained by Impact Wrestling. Now, if they can just please give the broken gimmick to the Hardys, I will be very happy, and I'll be more than happy to review the show here on the MF Steve Here channel. I'll probably do it anyways because it's kind of easy to do. But anyways, I was entertained. It was fun. There's a lot of good talent there. I'm hoping that now with Anthem backing them, I won't ever have to worry about are people going to leave because they're not getting paid. And I'm not huge on Alberto El Patron being there. When somebody leaves WWE and they're bitter and they end up on Impact, that to me isn't value product. You want to be pushing your new guys. There was a couple of names in there that I saw that I really liked. But we'll see. I don't know. People were complaining about there was a lot of Bruce Pritchard on the show, and he wasn't there like at all. I think he came out to congratulate Shira when he won the Battle Royal thing. So I don't know. I enjoyed it. That was fun. I thought paying an audience to cheer and boo, I thought it was a pretty sound strategy because I thought it worked. I thought it was good. Anyways, that's it for the Impact review. Maybe I'll do one next week. Maybe I won't. You'll never know unless you come back to the MF Steve Cheer channel. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. I know there's no Larson here to say goodbye, but what are you going to do? It's my channel.